All right, we're recording. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Team on the Run call for August 28th. And I am super, super excited to be hosting my girl Tara tonight. Tara and I both live in the same area. She's a Wisconsin lady, and she's on the market council with me. And she just has an amazing vibe and amazing confidence and a great story. And I can't wait for her to chat with you guys. I think that you're going to really, really enjoy what she has to share. So Tara she is a 2-star diamond. I'm looking at her stats here because there's a lot. Success Club 10 All-Star, Success Club 5 Legend. She says that she's a spiritual junkie, and I know that she's definitely into talking about PD. And I'm excited to hear about that. She's a yogi. She has 2 beautiful kiddos who you saw in the graphic that I posted, who are ages 8 and 3. She has an awesome, supportive hubby who she just celebrated her 5-year anniversary with. And she was working in marketing from her normal 9-to-5 job in marketing, and she quit after a year into coaching because she cannot imagine doing anything else. And yeah, I'm just super excited to have her here and have her share her tips to getting out of your own way and just the habits that are going to build an amazing business. So hopefully I got everything, Tara. Hopefully I covered everything because your list of accolades is amazing. And she has an amazing 6-pack. If you guys have not yet stalked her on social media, she's super buff. So you're inspiring in so many ways. So I will turn it over to you and let you share. And Carla, I love that you're suiting up to run right now, by the way. That's pretty badass. Look at her. Ah. All right, Tara, I will let you take it away. I'm going to mute myself. But guys, be free to type in the chat box, or I know that Tara's open to answer questions after the call too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for that intro. I'm super pumped, you guys, because I don't know a lot of, I don't know if I know any of you, but my jam is really just sharing my positive energy. And I hope that you can feel my energy coming through the screen at you. I hope you absorb some of it. I hope you have a notebook and a pen because you're going to want to jot some stuff down. So grab that if you don't, but I'm going to jump right in. I can be a little long-winded, so I'm going to talk fast. And I'm just going to try and stay on point here because otherwise this call will take forever. So, yeah, that was an awesome intro. I am a spiritual junkie. I am super into fitness. That is my thing. And I love personal growth and personal development. When I first started out coaching, you guys, I did not think, because I'm a super positive person already. And I thought like, oh, I don't need that stuff, like that self-help stuff, right? And I didn't do any of it. And then, you get no's, and our job hard and we're juggling a lot of things. I'm sure a lot of you are moms, or you're working, or you're just busy, right? And you start to doubt yourself, and you start to get these limiting beliefs that hold you back from your true potential. And so it wasn't until I started reading and doing personal development and really diving into the stuff that spoke to me. Like, everybody can recommend books to you, but if it doesn't speak to you, then don't read it. Read something that totally speaks to you or that totally challenges you, right? Like, if you're bored with what you're reading, then find something else, right? So that's like my number one tip. If you are not doing personal development, do it. And I have a whole list of books based on like topics, so I can share that with you guys. I'll dig up the link and then I'll get it to you, Jess, and you can share it. So I want to talk to you guys about high performance habits and getting out of your own way. So a lot of what I'm talking about is coming from Brendon Burchard. And if you haven't read his book, The Motivation Manifesto, it's pretty awesome. I've shared it with my team, and a lot of them, it resonated with them. So I highly recommend that if you're looking for something that's going to get you pumped. But he's awesome, and he spoke to us at Summit. So if you were at the leadership conference, some of this might be familiar to you, but I kind of put my own little twist on it, and I'll give you some of my own tips. So I'm going to jump right into that. Okay, so what he says is that achievement isn't your problem, you guys. alignment is. And what he also says is that you don't need to get more done. You just need to get more of the right stuff done. And that is so powerful. It sounds so simple, but it's so true, because I think as coaches, it's so easy to get distracted by shiny objects. It's so easy to have like 12 things going on at once, and then you lose sight of your income producing activities, right? And that's what keeps your doors open, right? So if you're not focused on the right thing, your business is not going to flourish. It's not going to grow, and you're going to get frustrated, and then you're going to be one of those coaches that throws in the towel and you're going to quit. And we don't want to see that. We want to help you, and that's why I'm sharing this info with you tonight, because I wish that I would have had some of these details earlier on in my coaching career. I've been coaching for 3 years now, and yeah, I can't imagine doing anything else. But I wish I would have known the value of personal development and all of these things when I first started. So what I want you guys to ask yourself is, what's not working, right? So high print, they're always self-evaluating. And I think that's really important. Don't confuse that with comparison, because I think as coaches, it's super, super easy to start comparing yourself. We all follow other coaches. We want to see what top coaches are doing, right? And sometimes what happens is we actually lose our own identity, and we lose our authenticity. And that is the quickest way to lose your following, because they will get confused and you're not going to be coming through as you. And, you know, we hear all the time that our customers are the people that we're working with. They're not buying Beachbody. They're not buying Shakeology. They're not buying products. They're buying you, right? They can go on Amazon. They can go on an infomercial. They can go on eBay or wherever, and they can get everything that we have to offer cheaper, right? They can go on buy and sell sites, even though it's against compliance, like whatever. People can get stuff, right? They can get access to it. They are buying you. And that's why it's so important to be authentic and to find your voice, and then just talk to the people that are your tribe. Find your people and talk to them, and just be authentic. So that requires you to constantly self-evaluate and not compare. It's not about comparison. It's constantly, is what I'm doing working? What can I change? How did today go? What did I do really well, right? What didn't work so well? Like, instead of making a to-do list, make a not to-do list, right? Like all the things that aren't working for you, write those things down and then toss them out the window and focus on the few things that remain on that to-do list, right? So, what happens with when a lot of times, like, new coaches will see their business will boom right out of the gates, right? Because you have all this energy, you're new, and you have, like, you know, this network that you haven't reached yet. And so you have all these people to talk to, and you find this initial success because you started, you worked hard, you were passionate, you focused on your strengths and what was working, you practiced a lot, right? Like, you probably send a ton of messages all the time, and you practice gratitude. If you're not practicing gratitude, definitely work that into your morning or evening ritual, or both. And just write down some things that you're grateful for. It's going to make you appreciate your business, your career, your family, your life, your energy, whatever. And you stick to it, right? So that gives you initial success. But what happens as we go on? That stuff is not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough to have long-term sustained success. You've got to do more, right? And it's not about doing more of what's not working. It's about doing more of what is working, the activities that are growing your business. So, like, does this sound familiar to anyone? Like, do we get stuck in these habits and then we start saying, like, no one's responding to my messages. Like, you know, I'm sending this message and no one's responding, or I'm getting all these no's, or people don't want Shakeology, they just want BOD, or, you know, like, whatever. We go through and we have this, like, cycle. And then those limiting beliefs that we've placed on us, that we place on ourselves, right? Those limiting beliefs, you start doubting ourselves. So that's your initial success. And it's really easy to go from here, like, 1 step forward and 5 steps back, right? Because business gets hard, because it requires long-term success, requires more than just doing the day-to-day stuff. It requires you to do more of the right stuff. So what leads to long-term success? The right habits. The right habits lead to long-term success. So, some of you might be in that initial success area, like your businesses are doing great, or maybe you're struggling. And so maybe you need to self-evaluate, right? So take a step back, look at what's working, look at what's not working. But what leads to long-term success, you guys, is doing the right habits. We hear at Summit, we hear from all the top coaches that they're not doing anything different than you are. They are just doing more of the right behaviors every single day, and they're doing it consistently. So that's what's going to lead to your long-term success. So what does high performance mean? Like, it sounds great, right? Like, I want to be a high performer. It sounds amazing, right? But what does that feel like? What does it mean? And I really want you to focus on like the feeling. Okay. So I'm talking about like, what does being a high performer feel like? Because so often we get caught up in goals, right? We want to be 5-star. We want to be elite. We want to be a 6-figure earner. Like, we have these big goals. And then we get there and like something's missing, right? And we look back and we're just like, man, why did I work so hard for that? Like, I don't feel like I thought I would, right? So I'm going to talk about goals in a little bit, but I want you to just think about what being a high performer feels like. So it feels like fun engagement. It feels like it's fun. Like, you are excited to wake up every day. And even if you're doing the same activities day in and day out, you are excited to do them. You bring passion to what you're doing. And you're excited to go and open up your inbox, and you're not approaching things like, oh, I don't even want to open up my messenger because I don't want to see like what people are saying, or I don't even want to look at my email because I don't want to see how many people have said no or didn't respond, right? No, I'm so excited because for all the people that didn't respond, I'm going to go out and I'm going to message someone new, right? So bring that excitement. It's like fun engagement, and bring your energy to your job, bring your energy to coaching, bring your energy to your business. So it feels joyful. It feels like joy. Like, just feel joy. You can't help but smile when you say the word joy. Like, you just can't help it. So here's what I want you to remember, and write this down and share it with your teams. You guys, we generate joy. We don't have it. We generate joy and sadness. We create it. It doesn't live within us. We're not just happy or sad. We decide. We get to decide if we are going to be happy or sad, or if we're going to bring the joy. So you get to decide that. So just remember that whenever you're getting down on yourself, like, no, I get to decide, right? We have these little voices, and I call them saboteurs. They're those little voices that you hear in your head. And it's those limiting thoughts and beliefs that we have about ourselves, or our past stories, or things that have happened to us. Maybe you worked in another multi-level marketing business before that you didn't do so well at, or maybe maybe you've tried to lose weight and you haven't been successful in the past. So you have these little voices, right? You get stuck in these stories and these past experiences. And I call those the saboteurs, because that's not real. They're not real. They're just trying to trick you into believing that past experience is real today. So it's super easy. The only thing that's real, you guys, this moment, right here, right now, it's the only thing that you have control over. So don't live in the past. Don't live in the future, because it doesn't exist yet. You can't change what's already happened, and you don't have any idea what's going to happen in the future. But what you can control is right here and right now, and whether you can be having fun and bringing joy and engagement to your audience or your team or your coaches or whatever, or not. Like, that's your choice. And that's awesome. It's pretty awesome when you think about that. And I have been talking a lot about, I've been doing a lot of spiritual reading lately, and I've been talking a lot about these, just your connection with the universe, and really tuning in and listening and watching for the signs, point you in the right direction. So don't feel like you have to have the future figured out. Just turn it over and just ask for guidance. Just turn it over. And you don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be religious. I don't care what your beliefs are, but I believe that there's something greater than us. And most of you probably do too. And if you don't, that's okay. You can still just be like, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, and that's okay, because I know I have everything that I need, and I'm going to be taken care of and supported, right? You have an amazing team behind you. You have an amazing coach that's supporting you, and hopefully you have an amazing support system behind you as well. So you have everything that you need to succeed, but it's up to you to have fun and to share that with your audience and your team, and to bring the joy, right? So remember, bring the joy. And it feels like confidence, okay? So the one thing you can remember is that you can be whoever you want to be, right? You have the ability to decide every single day who you're going to be. And you know what? If today something feels good, and tomorrow it doesn't, that's okay, because you can change your mind, right? You're allowed to change your mind. Just do what feels right to you, and that is going to exude confidence. When you're authentic, you cannot help but be confident, right? Because you have no doubt in who you are, and that allows other people to see the confidence within you. So bring that confidence and just be authentic. Just be genuine and be authentic, okay? So that all sounds easy, right? I don't know, maybe not. But it's not really, because high performance is succeeding beyond the norms consistently over the long term. And that's not easy. Like, I don't know, to me that sounds a little scary, but that's what high performance is. And just, I think you just dial it down to having fun, bringing the joy, bringing your confidence forward, and then just doing that every single day and staying consistent. So how do we do that? Well, we bring the joy, okay? So that's what I've been talking about. So you do what you're trying to do more often, and you do it with confidence, and more confidence will come. The more you do what you're trying to do, the more confidence you're going to have in doing it. So no matter how many people slam the door in your face, no matter how many people you know, no matter how many people judge you or block you or whatever, you just keep going. Because eventually people are going to come around. They're watching you, and it never fails that the most of the people that have said no to me come back later and say, well, you know what, I'm kind of curious. What do you got going on here? I want to know more, right? So don't write people off, but you don't have to chase after people, right? You just have to be you, be authentic, and bring the joy. All right. So we summon the strength. We don't want for it. We don't wait for it to land in our lap. We have to summon that strength. It's within you. You just have to dig deep and find that. It's the same with your confidence. It's in there. You have to summon it to come out, and you have to practice. You have to practice doing that. And something that's really helped me with my confidence and just I don't know, just really being authentic with who I am and knowing who I am and being comfortable with that and not worrying about what people think or caring if people judge me, is I meditate a lot. I meditate every single morning. I go for a walk every day before my family wakes up, and I listen to audiobooks, and I connect with nature. And I say affirmations. I actually set reminders in my phone throughout the day that pop up and remind me. And they're different. Some of them are the same. And then there's different ones that I set throughout the day. So for me, it's a lot of spiritual stuff. Like, I expect miracles. It's a lot about receiving and forgiveness and asking for guidance and I don't know, just I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's just a ton of them. And it kind of depends on what I'm reading too. So right now I'm doing like a 40-day, it's a book by Gabrielle Bernstein. It's called May Cause Miracles. It's amazing. If you've not read any of her books, I highly recommend them. They're incredible. The Universe Has Your Back is awesome. And my husband and I are doing she's a 40, yes, I love it so much. My husband and I are doing the 40-day, it's a 40-day, you do like a reading each day, and there's like a morning affirmation, an evening exercise, and you meditate. And so I set these affirmations like in my phone throughout the day. So we both do. So it's kind of neat to do together, but you can do it on your own too. So that's Gabrielle Bernstein, May Cause Miracles. It's amazing. So those are just things that really help me just remember it, like, you know, because it's easy when your business isn't going well to start doubting yourself and to start saying like, oh, am I really a good fit for this? Or is this really a good fit for me? Or, you know, maybe you're having to work more, right? Like more hours, you have to put in more time, and maybe that's not making your spouse or partner happy, right? It helps when you do these kinds of exercises. It just really helps you remember. It just helps you stay aligned with your purpose. And I think that's the biggest thing is you need to make sure you know what your purpose is and get clear on that. And when you do these meditations and affirmations, and when you read personal development, it makes it really easy to stay in alignment. And I think that's really important, because if you're struggling, then you're out of alignment with your purpose. And so a lot of times if I'm struggling or having a bad moment, I just stop and I take a deep breath and I say, like, universe, thank you for showing me that I'm out of alignment with my true purpose. show me the way, right? And it just is a mental like break. It stops those thoughts, it stops whatever's happening, and it just kind of it's like hitting the reset button. So those kinds of things, it might sound like kooky voodoo, whatever my brother makes fun of, but I don't knock it till you try it. That's what I say. So anyway, those are some things that could help you. So here are some things that high performance people are. All right. So they are more successful than most of their peers, not less stressed, right? They're more successful. They are more confident. They are uniquely productive. And they have a high quality output, okay? They work passionately regardless of traditional rewards like income or bonuses or, gifts or whatever traditional rewards might be. They are admired and they are adaptive leaders. They are happier than most people. They're healthier than most of their peers. They get better grades, not meaning that they're smarter, but they apply themselves better. They feel appreciated and they feel that their work is making a difference. I think this list is really key because if you could just write down that list and just kind of check off the things that you feel, and then you can kind of see the areas or identify the areas that you might need to focus on, right? Maybe you need to be applying yourself more.
Tara, could you repeat that list for us? Is that okay, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have it
right.
from Summit too, but I'm sure that these ladies would love to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. So they are more successful than their peers, not less stressed. They're more confident. They are uniquely productive with a high quality output. They work passionately regardless of traditional rewards. They are admired and adaptive leaders, happier than most people, healthier than their peers. They get better grades, not smarter, but apply themselves. Feel appreciated and that their work is making a difference. So I think that's really key. So if you want to spend some time going through that list on your own and just, kind of seeing like where you feel like you maybe are a high performer, and then maybe the areas where you're lacking a little bit and you could spend a little bit more time focusing in those areas. So I think that's a really good practice to go through, and you could even share that with your teams, and you could, have a conversation about that. So what it really boils down to is making deliberate habits consistently. So these are the habits that stretch you. They're the habits that you are conscious of. They're not the things that we just do on autopilot, right? When you are working on autopilot, you're not really going to be connecting with people, okay? So if your business is struggling, you might be doing a little bit too much on autopilot. If you're doing a ton of copy and pasting, and I'm not saying we don't do that, because I do, but I really try to connect with every single person in some personal way when I talk to them. So I might copy the message, but I always add something personal so that I'm really connecting with that person, because I want to treat people how I would want to be treated. So I don't want to be sent some, generic message. And in fact, I've been sent generic messages and I can totally tell, right? And it's from somebody who, they don't care about me. They don't even know if I need what they have. They haven't even taken the time to ask, right? Or to get to know me at all. And they're just inviting me to something, and that doesn't feel really great. So think about how you would feel if someone did that to you, right? So you want to make sure you're being deliberate, which means you need to connect on a personal level, and you need to be doing these habits and be conscious of them when you're doing them. So really be deliberate. So you got to dive a little bit deeper, and we're going to do that right now, into what those deliberate habits might be. So first, we're going to talk about personal habits, okay? So personally, you are going to want to seek clarity more often than your peers, okay? And that means self-evaluating. So that means that you want to wake up every single day and know who you want to be and live it. A lot of you might know who you want to be, but you're not living it. You're not putting it into practice, which means you're not living your true and authentic, highest purpose life, right? Because you've got to be dialed in. And if you know exactly who you are, and I think some of the things that I talked about, like if you're doing personal development, meditating, if you practice yoga, things like that, it's really going to help you get deeply connected with yourself and your purpose. And it makes it a lot easier and smoother to just go out and live that without fear of judgment or anything else, right? Because fear holds us back, you guys. Fear holds us back. And if you're living in fear, you are really holding yourself back. And so you've got to get out of your own way. You have a choice to see things through fear, and that's just your ego brain trying to trick you into thinking like, oh my gosh, I'll be hurt if people judge me, or oh my gosh, what will I do if this person says no, or oh, I could never talk to them about coaching. They don't need it. They have a great job. Or, oh, I don't even want to go message that person because I'm sure they're going to say no, right? We have all these ideas floating around in our head. Those are all beliefs that are holding you back. And when I started to realize that, and I would just message those people anyway, I was amazed at the response that I got. People were like, oh my gosh, I'm so flattered you thought of me. Thank you for, the message. I appreciate it. And I was like, wow, really? Like, why did I have this fear? Because I created it myself. You get stuck in these stories. So when you do personal development and you do it consistently, it really helps you remember that those voices are just voices. It's not like you have your brain, but you're the CEO of your brain. Your brain lives in your ego, and your ego is trying to protect you. So your ego's job is like, think of that fight or flight instinct that we have, right? If something bad is about to happen or scary or whatever, you have this sensation like you're either going to fight or you're going to flight, right? And that's your ego's job. It's trying to protect you. And being judged or being told no or all those things, those are scary to your brain and your ego. So your ego is saying, don't do it. But you are in charge of your ego and your brain, so you need to shut that down. And that's kind of what I'm talking about there. And personal development is going to help you stay on top of not listening to those voices, because that's not real. Okay, so one of the exercises that Brendan Burchard had us do is he had us choose 3 words. So if you guys had to choose 3 words that you want to live by, here's the thing. Don't overthink this. Don't judge it. Don't, just choose 3 words that really, really, really speak to you. And maybe you already have 3 words, right? Like mine are radiant, giving, and free. And I want to live my life. And so that's what I try to incorporate into everything that I do. I try to incorporate that into my posts. I try to give value by giving. And for me, radiant means like my highest. I am deeply rooted and centered and connected, and I feel beautiful and confident and all of those things. Like I am my absolute highest self, right? So that's what radiant means for me. And free is that I'm not living in fear. It also means that I have, freedom of like finances, financial freedom, that I have freedom of my time, right? So it has like a multi-meaning there. So those are my 3 words. So choose 3 words, write them down, and then when you're self-evaluating, go back to those 3 words and ask yourself, is that what I'm living, right? And what do people see? How are you projecting yourself? Like go to your social media page or ask one of your teammates, or a close friend or spouse or partner or whatever, to go to your page and really just honestly and objectively evaluate your page and tell you if they had to pick 3 words, what would they be? Ask them and see if it matches up. Is that who you're projecting, or are you projecting somebody totally different? So that might help you kind of get in alignment with how people are seeing you versus how you think you're projecting yourself. So it's a really good experience to go through. And then when you wake up in the morning, just like put these words like on a sticky and put them on your bathroom mirror, put them on your computer, in your office, on your refrigerator, like put them everywhere so that they really become ingrained in your brain and that you constantly see them and that you feel really comfortable around them and it feels really good for you to see them. And so that when you don't look at them, you're not like, oh gosh, I'm not really embodying that one today. But it's just like a really great way to keep them top of mind. So I have mine, I have them on my wall behind me. I have a little sticky note in my bathroom, and I have them on my desk in various places. And then I work those into my affirmations and things. And I really try to look back on my posts for the day and like ask myself, did I live that? Is that what I was projecting, right? So it's a really good experience to go through. And that, again, is going to really help you stay aligned with your authentic self. And when you are authentic, your audience is going to see that and they're going to be drawn to you. Your people are going to be drawn to you. And then you are going to be speaking to them. Because that's what you want to do. You want to connect with the people, like your avatar, right? The people that are your people that your story resonates with. That's who you want to connect with. And when you're being really authentic and sharing your authentic story, you're going to connect with those people, and those people are going to connect with you. They're going to want to follow you. All right. So, so seeking clarity, self-evaluating, that's number one. Number two is you've got to generate energy. And for me, like, I just feel like, for me, it's all about positivity, and it doesn't mean you have to be like an ultra optimist, right? But for me, that's what I am, and people tell me that, and I love to bring that energy, and I love to share it with my audience. I love to just share positive and inspirational messages with my audience and my team, and that is just something that's super, like, I'm super passionate about. That doesn't have to be you. You could bring energy in a whole different way. Do it in a way that feels good to you. Don't try and be someone or something you're not. There's tons of different ways for you to bring your own energy, but bring the energy. So the other thing with this is that when I talk about bringing the energy, it means bringing the energy to your work. So again, like, not living on that autopilot, right? It's bringing energy and getting excited about sitting down to do those daily activities that we have to do every single day, day in and day out, right? We have 4 vital behaviors, and that's what we do every single day. And that can become mundane unless you bring your energy and you find new ways and different things to get excited about. Then you can bring that energy, and it's going to come through in your messaging. And so you can bleed out that energy into everything that you do. And then related to this is really becoming a master of transitions, because I know I am super guilty of being like, oh, I'm just going to go throw a little laundry in quick, or I'm going to go, I don't know, make lunch. And then it's like 2 hours go by and I'm just like, I never finished, I had this open on my laptop or this open on my phone, or, I had these messages sitting there that I never hit send, or I don't know, I was working on a post or whatever, and I had too many things going on and I wasn't bringing my energy to any one of those things, right? I was just like working on a bunch of stuff. And so when you're a master at transitions, you take breaks and you step back and you release the tension of whatever it is that you are working on, and then you set intentions for what you're about to work on. So that helps you be really clear on what you just did and what you're about to do. And it really helps you stay focused. And laser focus is something that is definitely required in this business, especially if this is your full-time gig. Well, I mean, even if it's not, actually, probably more so if it's not your full-time gig. Maybe you have a full-time job and you coach part-time, then you really need to be laser focused because you have more on your plate. You're juggling a full-time job or a part-time job or whatever. And so you really have a limited amount of time to get these things done. So you really need to become a master of transitions, really releasing the tension when you're done with one activity and setting your intentions for the next. And so this would really relate to like your power hour, right? Maybe you do a power half hour, a power hour, however you do it. Really think about those transitions and how you can really maximize your time. Generating the energy. And then 3 is raise your necessity. High performance feel that it is absolutely necessary to perform well, right? They believe that whatever it is that they're doing, it is absolutely necessary. So you got to raise your necessity. So a lot of times we don't like to add pressure, right? We don't want to put more pressure on ourselves. But high performance say, I must, right? So what I say to myself is, I must send 50 messages today, or I must follow up with every single person in my free group today. Like whatever it is, I have to do it. There is no, I really need to, or I think I should. I don't live in a world of shoulds because we all shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? And it just creates issues. You either do or you don't, okay? So there's no trying, there's no should. You either do it or you don't, right? If you're trying or you should, then you're half-assing it, right? And you're holding yourself back. You either do it or you don't. So it's a necessity. You got to raise your necessity. You got to put that pressure on yourself. And I'm not saying like run yourself ragged or like beat yourself up, but when you create that necessity, you will become more focused, more efficient, and more productive. And you will get more done in the time that you have, because it's almost like racing against the clock. Or, like I'm a super competitive person with myself. So if I create a challenge for myself, like you better bet I'm going to do it, And find yourself a success partner. So I know for me, like I have a success partner, and we talk every single day, and we keep each other motivated. How's it going? What are you doing? What messages are you sending today? What are you doing? We're constantly just in contact, and it's not distracting. It actually helps me stay focused because I know that we're going to be messaging each other and I'm going to have to be accountable to her. So accountability helps me raise my necessity. It makes me feel like I really have to perform, not just for me, but if I don't, I'm also going to let her down because she's a high performer. And I want to make sure that, you know, I'm living up to that standard, right? And that I'm living up to my own standards. So find yourself a success partner if you don't have one. It's great accountability, and it's a really great support system. Like, we've become amazing friends, and you know, we didn't know each other before we started coaching. We don't live anywhere near each other, but whenever we go on trips, Beachbody trips, like, we hang out like we've known each other for years. It's amazing. So find yourself a partner that's going to help you increase or raise your necessity, because it's not, if you have the idea in your head that you can give or take, whether you message people or invite people to this business or to your challenge groups, then your business is going to reflect that. But if you feel that it's absolutely necessary that you message and invite people, your business is going to reflect that. So just, you know, remember that. And if that feels okay to you, then fine. For me, I want my business to grow, and that means I have to, every single day, be inviting and talking to people about this business and joining my challenge groups. So what you want to just say to yourself, it is necessary for me to do well here, period, the end. Not I should do well, not I'm going to try, because I can't tell you how many coaches say like, oh, I'm going to try it for 3 months and see how it goes. Well, you know what? You might as well just not. You might as well just not try it, because you're telling me right now, like, you're not willing to give it your all. No, go all in for 3 months. Give it your all. Make it, I must succeed in this business. There is no other opportunity. Don't have one hand on the emergency exit. Don't have one foot already out the door. You go all in, give it everything, because it's necessary to make anything in your life work, right? Like, would you say that about your marriage? I'm just going to try it for a few months and see how it works. No, like, no, you wouldn't. Would you say that about your kids? Oh, I'm just going to try it for a few months, see how it goes. No, you would not, right? It's absolutely necessary for you to give it everything you've got. Your business is the same. And there are people that need you. There are people that need you. They need the products you have. They need your brand. They need your authenticity, and they need you to help them change their lives and get results and lose weight and get healthy and all those things, right? And to build their own businesses. Need you to do that. So make it a necessity. And if you're struggling here, then it's likely because you've disconnected with why it's necessary, right? So go back to your why and remember why you started this, right? And get aligned with your purpose. And that's where the personal development is coming in, you guys. It's really going to help you stay aligned. Okay, so use intention and use will, and you have to summon that strength. And don't back away from demanding more from yourself. It's really easy to let yourself off the hook, right? But don't back away from demanding more of yourself. Okay, so those were personal habits. Now I'm going to talk about social habits. So number 1 is to increase your productivity. So you need to know what your blockbusters are. So for me, it's like inviting, it is messaging people, it's following up with my free group people, it's talking to my coaches and supporting my coaches, and it's recruiting, right? So those are the things that really help my business grow and keeps my doors open, right? If I don't do those things, my shop is going to close, right?
Will you
So,
repeat those, Tara? Sorry. I'm like, will you repeat those super quick? Sorry.
Yeah. So for me, the productivity is inviting and messaging. And when I say messaging, for me, that's like follow-ups. And so for me, I do a free group every month. And that's pretty much where all of my success code points come from. I run a free group every month. I do it the exact same way. I use the same meal plan. I focus on fitness because that's my thing. If your thing is clean eating, then do clean eating. If it's yoga, then do yoga. Like, whatever your thing is, like, I found my niche, and people want to know like what I'm doing for my workouts. So I go on live, I work out with them. I do a 5-day group, and I do it once a month, and it's pretty much the same format. And so for me, messaging is following up. So I follow up with them like on the Wednesday of my group. It starts on Monday. I follow up on Wednesday. How's it going? You're rocking it. Or I haven't seen you posting. I hope you're liking everything, whatever. And then I start talking about my challenge group and what steps are next. And then I start sending personal messages, inviting them. Hey, not sure if you saw my post, but I wanted you to be one of the first to be invited to my challenge group, you know, blah, 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 blah. So messaging and following up, and then supporting my coaches, right? So you have to split up your time, you know, with challenge groups and your customers versus recruiting and coaches, because your business doesn't grow. Your business doesn't grow if you're not consistently adding coaches, right, to your team. And you can only get so far if you're not recruiting. So if you're really strong in the sales area, that's great, but you've got to be converting those people. And so the natural transition is really just, you know, getting them into your challenge groups and getting them an amazing transformation and helping them fall in love with the products. And then, you know, you can share the discount, or you can say like, you are really rocking this and look how inspiring you are in our group. You're posting every day. I love your messages. Like, have you ever considered like doing what I do? Or, you know, maybe you just want to save a little bit of money, you know? And so just be real. I talk to people just like I'm talking to a friend, you know, I just, hey, you know, and think about how you would want to be approached about something like that. So those are the things: inviting, messaging, / follow-ups, coaches, supporting my coaches, and recruiting.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm listening to a video.
Hang on. I think we have someone we need to mute. Okay. I don't know. Okay. So learn what matters most for you. Like, maybe those aren't the things that, you know, you want to put all your time into, but learn for you what matters most, and then do it well, right? Become an expert at it. Do it well and do it consistently. So the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Okay. You've probably heard that before, but it's so true. Like, if you just focus on the main thing, right? And that's growing your business and those 4 vital behaviors. And if you just do that consistently, day in and day out, keep it exciting, keep it fun, bring the energy, bring the joy, then your business is going to grow, and that energy is just going to, like, you know, be radiating out of you, and people are going to be like, I want some of that, you know, and that's what you want. So the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So figure out what that is for you. Get rid of the distractions. Don't be distracted by shiny objects, by laundry, by kids, by whatever it is. Create your work hours, set your work hours, honor them, stick to them, and train your people when you're going to be available, right? For whether it's customers or coaches. You know, I used to like respond to people all hours of the day, and it started getting in the way of my relationships, and it wasn't fun. And so then it became stressful and frustrating. And so then I had to dial it back and set work hours. And so I try hard to stick to those work hours, and it's still hard for me, but I'm not up until, you know, I'm not burning both ends of the candle like I used to. So just, you know, you have to honor yourself and what feels good to you, and kind of train people. You have to set boundaries, right? So do the things that you do, and just do them your absolute best. Give them everything that you have. And so here's a tip for you. If you, like, every 50 minutes, like 50, every 50 minutes, get up, stretch, release your tension, go jog around your living room, or just go outside, take some deep breaths, or just sit and take like 10 big deep belly breaths and just let them out, like in through your nose, out through your mouth. Release the tension and set new intentions, like for the next block of time. So if you work in these like 50-minute blocks, like, so for me, this is my full-time gig. So like I, you know, work a good chunk of the afternoon, and I could just sit at my desk for hours when my daughter's napping, or when my daughter and my son are at school. And, you know, I'm just like burnt out. Like by the end of, you know, 3 hours, I'm just like, oh, I can't even think, like, you know, my brain is mush. But when I break it up into these smaller blocks, it's much more manageable, and I feel more energy, right? So I feel less autopilot, more in control, and more focused. It's like a little kick of Energize, right? If anyone has ever taken if you guys use Energize, like I use it every morning before my workout. But my husband and I were away for the weekend, and we had a late night. It was our anniversary. So anyway, we went to see a concert, and we had a late night, and we're in our 40s, and we don't go out anymore, and drink or anything like that, but we had a couple cocktails. We were up late, and both of us were like, oh, I think I need to do a shot of Energize the next morning. So I actually used that in one of my posts. I was like, hey, by the way, our pre-workout doubles as, a little kick in the pants if you need it after a late night. So anyway, it's a side tip. Okay. So you can't just go right, because the problem with being good is that you never know how great you could be. So don't be good, right? It's kind of like the should, or I'm going to try. No, I'm going to be the very best that I possibly can be. And so make that like your goal, like your authentic self is, and that's my like radiance, right? I just want my energy to radiate out of me. And that means that I'm being the very best person that I can be. I'm doing the best possible job that I can at my business. Okay, so number 2 for social habits is develop influence, because we all know that nobody's going to buy anything from you if they don't like, know, and trust you. So how do people get to like, know, and trust you? By you sharing your authentic story, by you being genuine. You start developing influence when you start doing these things on a day-to-day basis. You teach people how to think, right? Like I'm sharing all kinds of spiritual stuff, and I'm having people like reach out to me like, oh my gosh, I read that book too, or I love that post you did, or you're so inspiring, or whatever. I am talking to my people, right? Because I'm just being my authentic self. So I'm not necessarily, I don't feel like I'm teaching people how to think, but they like what I'm putting out there. And so they come to my page to see what I'm posting. And then you want to challenge people to rise up and raise their ambition, and you raise your ambition. So you've got to be challenging people. And that doesn't mean saying your way is the only way, right? Like, it's not usually fun when you read someone's page that's always like, if you're not doing this, then blah, 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 or you should do this, right? I try to, sometimes I censor my posts because I say that too much. And then I go back and I say like we or our or whatever, and I make it this collective thing, because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm, like my way or the only way, right? Like, no, I'm open to all possibilities and whatever, but I don't know if that makes sense. But you want to challenge people, right? Like, you want to be an expert at what you're really good at, and you want to challenge people to raise their ambition. And then you want to push your people, right? So you got to be challenging your team. Your success, that's what's awesome about this business, is it's your business, and you get to decide who you want to work with, right? So we get to pick our coworkers. We get to like hand pick them, right? How many places can you say that you can do that? And that's what's really awesome. We get to choose the people we want to work with. But then it's your responsibility as their coach to really push them and challenge them and help them raise their vibration and their ambition. And you do that by supporting them, by sharing what you're learning, by, hosting team calls. Like, I never used to do team calls because I was like, I don't want to have like an evening obligation. And then, I started getting more and deeper into this business, and I was like, I was like, no one's going to show up anyway. Why should I do it? Once I started doing it, I then said to myself, I'm going to have a team call every week. And even if no one's there, I'm just going to show up. And there was a national wake up call. It was like something about going to the roof. And it was like, I'm going to go to the roof until everybody joins me at the roof. And eventually your team will join you, right? So if you show up for a team call and no one's there, you just keep showing up and you keep posting about it and you keep letting them know. And eventually they're going to join the roof, right? So don't have that mentality. You have to challenge your people to rise up, right? And in order to do that, you have to rise up, okay? So influence, and you do that by raising your ambition, okay? So you have to live your message more. Remember, going back to like, we know who we want to be, right? But we have to live that. You have to be authentic and be genuine. So you have to live your message more, and you convey your message to people by sharing your story. And I hear all the time like, oh, I don't have a great information, or I don't have a story. It's BS. And you're listening to these voices in your head, because that's not real. Everyone has a story, a valid story, a good story, a great story. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a physical transformation. You don't need one. I don't have a great physical transformation. I mean, it's pretty good. But, I didn't lose like 100 pounds or 50 pounds or anything like that. But I have more of a mental transformation because of this business. And so that's what I focused on. I focused on where I have gone and who I've become and what this business has inspired me, who this business has inspired me to become. And that's what I want to help other women discover for themselves. So that's become my message. So you have to find that for yourself and then share that. Okay, so number 3 for social habits is to demonstrate courage, okay? And so you want to think about this, like, do your family and friends, does your partner or spouse know? Do they really, really know what you want? Do they know what you think? Do they know how you feel, or do they know what you need? So tell people, no matter what they're going to think, no matter what you think they're going to think, tell people, right? You have to have that courage, and you have to have the belief. And that's what personal development is going to do for you. It's going to give you self-belief, and you're going to value your own opinions and your own self-worth more, and you will develop more courage to go out and to share your story. And you will attract others to you by doing that, by being courageous, by being brave. And I will relate this to being vulnerable. If you're not sharing vulnerable stories on your page, whether you have a personal page or a business page or both, you got to get vulnerable, because that's how you connect with people. You have to start sharing some personal stuff. I'm not saying you have to share every deep, dark secret. No, you don't. Okay. You get to decide what you want to share and how deep you want to go and how much you want to share. But that's the beauty of it. You can get a little vulnerable, and you can share different things about your life and your story that are really going to help you connect with others. So be courageous, be brave, and get vulnerable, because it's going to help you connect. And you have to connect in order for people to like you, right? They have to trust you. And if you're not willing to get vulnerable with them, then why should they trust you and join your challenge group, right? So, all right, I'm going to try and wrap this up here. So you have personal habits and social habits. And on the personal side, you've got seek clarity, generate energy, and raise your necessity. And on the social side, you have increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage. So you guys need to be rating yourself daily. Self-evaluate. Rate yourself daily. So the other, if you want to jot this down, you guys can take this personality test. It's the DISC personality test. Maybe you've already done it. It's if you just go to discpersonalitytest.com, you can take this, and it will really help you differentiate from your why. And so I encourage you to just do that, because it's really going to help you define, it's going to help give you some clarity on the things that you should focus on. So it's really about what's going to keep you performing at a high level. And that's what that personality test is going to help you identify or uncover. So you want to ask yourself, what do I want to feel? So earlier I talked a little bit about goals. So I want to talk about goals really quickly, and then we're going to boil this down and wrap it up. Sorry, okay, it's long. Okay, so when I talk about goals, you guys, I talked earlier, like we all set these big lofty goals, right? And that's great. I want you to have big, scary things that challenge you and scare you. But here's the thing about goals. A lot of times we just set goals because it's the next step in the process, right? You become emerald, and then you become diamond, and then you go 2-star, and then you go 5-star, and then you're elite, and la, 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 right? But you don't have to follow that path. Okay, you need to set goals for yourself that are meaningful to you. Because if you set goals just because it's the next thing to do, then you're going to get frustrated, because you're not going to get the feeling that you wanted out of it. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about, okay, I want to become a diamond coach. How do you want to feel? Why do you want to become a diamond coach? How is it that you want to feel? And then what I want you to do is I don't want you to just wait until you become a diamond coach. I want you to start doing things in your life that are going to bring more of that feeling into your life every day. I don't know if that makes sense. You need to create the experiences in your life that create that feeling that you want when you become a diamond coach. What happens when you do that is when you become a diamond, it makes the journey much more joyful, right? Because you're creating these wonderful experiences in your life every single day. And then when you hit that goal, you're like, oh, this feels amazing. And it was so much fun getting there, right? How often do we look back and we're like, oh, I finally got there. It was so much freaking work. I can't believe I did that. Ugh, it doesn't even feel that great. You know, like, no, you don't want to feel that. You want to feel like elation and like all this joy, right? Part of that is the journey. You got to enjoy the journey, and you have to be growing, right? So create more of what you want in your life, how you feel, how you want to feel. Create more of those experiences. If you want more love, purpose, passion, you know, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever it is that you want more of in your life, or whatever it is you want to feel when you become a diamond coach. I'm going to feel successful. I'm going to feel powerful, empowered. I'm going to feel, I don't know, accepted. Whatever it is, I'm just trying to think out loud. Create more of those experiences on a day-to-day basis. So when you create experiences in your life, when you reach that goal, it's going to help you even feel better. And what happens a lot of times, we set goals and we don't reach them all the time, right? So like, I had a goal of being an elite coach last year. I didn't make it. And, you know, that felt kind of crappy, right? And then I went to a new leader conference and I really started evaluating like what my goals were. And I was like, I just really wanted to be elite because I'm competitive, and I just wanted to, because that was a big thing, right? Because it's like a rank that I could achieve. And it was a big deal with the company, but it wasn't really being elite that was meaningful to me, right? What was more meaningful to me was providing for my family financially, because I left my full-time career, right? So our family relies on the income that I produce from this business. I'm not just doing this as a hobby, it's my career to help support my family. So our livelihood depends on it. I mean, my husband has his own company, but you know, I contribute to our family. So it was more meaningful to me to be able to contribute to my family. So I knew that I could still achieve what I wanted to achieve by not necessarily reaching elite. And I'm not telling you not to push for elite or anything like that, but discover and uncover the goals that are really meaningful for you, because then what happens is what happens if you don't reach the goal, right? You're deflated. You feel like a failure. You feel like everyone's judging you. You're just like, well, what did I do all that work for? But when you take the experiences on a day-to-day basis of how you want to feel when you reach that goal, then even if you don't reach that goal, you're just like, oh, it was damn fun trying. It was super awesome. I really grew so much in this past year in all the work that I put in. And, you know, I'm just going to reevaluate, and I'm going to do some things differently, and I'm going to, you know, set some new goals for next year or whatever. And you don't have that deflated feeling and like you're a complete failure. You still have the feelings that you want to have when you get to that goal. And that's, I think, what's important about goals. And I think that's what a lot of times we miss when we're setting goals. So I like to call it, Brittany Bouchard likes to call it, setting goals with soul. So make sure your goals are meaningful to you, because you're going to be more apt to feel better whether you reach them or not. And whether you reach them or not is not necessarily the point. It's about the growth that you make while you're trying to get there, right? Goals just challenge us, right? They push us out of our comfort zone, or they should anyway, but it's not really about reaching the goal. It's about the growth that takes place between point A and point B, right? So just remember that. The goals don't define you. They don't make you who you are. It's the growth that happens, the transformation that happens from getting to point A to point B. How many challengers have you had that are like, yeah, I want to join your challenge group because I need to lose 40 pounds, right? But what happens to that person who needs to lose 40 pounds? They get into your challenge group, they start getting results, and not only are they losing the weight, but whether they're losing the weight or not, they feel good, right? They feel amazing, and they transform mentally. And then they have this physical transformation, and they had no idea that was going to happen, but it did. And so it's about that growth from point A to point B. Okay, so I want to X so that I can feel X, fill in the blanks for you, right? So seek clarity, you guys, generate energy, bring the joy, increase your productivity, develop influence. People need to get to know you. You can do that using Facebook. You can do it using Instagram, whatever your platform is, Instagram Live, Instagram Stories, Facebook Stories, all that stuff really gives people a really amazing insight to like who you really are. So if you're not using those platforms, definitely do that. Think about using Facebook Stories and Instagram Stories. That really gives people a good idea of who you are, as opposed to just posting 3 to 5 times a day, right? Demonstrate courage, get vulnerable, right? Put yourself out there and set goals with soul, okay? Set goals that are meaningful to you, and just do more of what makes you feel good and what's going to create the feelings that you want in your life. Do that more. Do more of the things that are going to make you feel how you want to feel when you get to that goal. Okay, so that's it. I was hoping I could keep this shorter, but I do get long-winded, and I'm super passionate about talking about this stuff, so I don't like to leave anything out. So I hope y'all took some good notes and got some good nuggets. If there's anything that you need me to like type out. And I see there's some notes here. So let me just go through those. Okay, so I feel like I'm not great with this. Transitioning, wasting a lot. Yes, I'm guilty of that too. Okay, so meal prep group. Yeah, think about your free groups. Think about what topics you want to do. Couldn't live without my Energize. Me neither. It's like my lifeline. Courage to be vulnerable. Yes, I think that's something we can all do, just to be more vulnerable. Okay, so Sabrina asked what was, the test. The test is DISC, personalitytest.com. That's the website. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, someone did that. Okay. Okay, so if there's anything that you missed or I went too fast or whatever, I can send it to you. You can message me or I can send it to Jess and she can get it to you or whatever. But I appreciate your guys' time. It was really fun to share this with you. It was really impactful for me. And so I just love paying that forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thanks for listening and tuning in. I really appreciate it.
Tara, thank you so much for speaking to us. It just, I don't know. I hope I'm not speaking. I know I'm not just speaking for myself when I say like I just needed this. I've been in a mental place just in the last month where I needed this insight. I needed to think about generating joy and connecting to what my real goals are with, just all of it. I have 2 pages of notes. So thank you. I needed to feel uplifted by this. I appreciate it so much.
I'm so glad. Like, I just feel like sometimes just, hearing a different perspective is just helpful. So it's fun, bringing someone in from the outside sometimes, and it's just that kick in the pants we need sometimes. So I'm glad it spoke to you, and I hope it spoke to some of the other ladies too. So
it looks like it did. I needed a little kick in the pants. So thank you. And ladies, feel free to reach out to Tara or to me, and I can pass the message along. But I just thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to be on here and just get us fired up. I feel fired up and I feel positive, and I needed that. So thank you.
Okay, I'm glad.
Thank you.
That's the goal.
All right, ladies, have a good night, and I can't wait just to see you put this into action. So thank you so much.
Yeah, good vibes to everybody.
Yes,
thanks, you guys.
for sure. Thank you, Tara. Bye guys.